Christopher Columbus not only deceived the Queen of Spain, but also misled his crew. The greatness he claimed as a captain was far from the truth. In reality, he was not such an experienced navigator. He could determine routes with the help of certain instruments, had served in minor positions on some ships, and had a liking for study. But overall, he was an ordinary navigator, a mediocre captain, heading toward an unknown purpose. As time passed, his crew began to turn against him. At one point, the sailors decided that if returning home became impossible, they would end Columbus's life. The question arose, why did the crew want to kill their commander? How did Columbus escape his certain death? And ultimately, how did this fleet reach the shores of a new continent? Before the journey began, the Spanish government had made grand promises to Columbus. He was told he would be given a place among Spain's elite. He would receive the rank of caballero, along with the honorific title Don, the same Don, which means chief or noble. It was also promised that Columbus would be made the great admiral of the ocean, and that a tenth of whatever treasures were obtained from the new land would belong to him. From trade ships, an eighth share would go to Columbus. The crew was told that whoever first spotted Asian land would receive an annual pension of 10,000 maravedis for life. But all these promises were dreams of the future. The reality at that time was that the Queen only provided Columbus with 2 ships, not from the royal treasury, but reluctantly from the locals. Altogether, there were merely 99 crewmen, some cannons, a few guns, and inadequate supplies. Through his own efforts, Columbus managed to obtain a 3rd ship, the Santa Maria. Thus, 3 ships set out, their sails adorned with large red crosses. The journey began on the 3rd of August. The early days were calm, the winds were favorable, and the crew cheerful. Columbus would often gaze at the sky and pray. He determined direction using the sun and stars, though he was not a master in this art. Instead of 10 to 15 days, when 20 days had passed without sight of land, anxiety began spreading among the crew. The shortage of food, the threat of hunger, and the fear of death drove them toward rebellion. The matter escalated to the point where many began thinking of killing Columbus. They said, "This Italian is bent on destroying us. If we throw him into the sea, we can return home." Columbus would sometimes entice them with the promise of rewards, sometimes give them hope, but nothing proved effective. The crew often refused his orders. The situation grew worse day by day. Despair increased, and sailors began seeing illusions. Some thought they saw land, some an island, but everything proved false, until suddenly the sounds of birds were heard. Flocks of migratory birds appeared in the sky, flying toward the West Indies. This sight became a ray of hope for the crew. Columbus turned the ships in the birds' direction, but even after 3 days' journey, no land appeared. The crew's patience wore thin. They surrounded Columbus and said, "Either order us to return or abandon the thought of saving your own life." Columbus played his final card. He said, "Give me just 3 more days. If we do not find land, we shall turn back." Now fear gripped Columbus's heart. He drove the ships westward at full speed. On the night between the 11th and 12th of October, Columbus saw a light on the shore, but the rest of the crew dismissed it as an illusion. At 2 in the morning, a sailor aboard the Pinta actually sighted an island. In the moonlight, the sand was shining. He cried out loudly, "Tierra, tierra, land, land!" A cannon was fired, and the other ships were alerted. After 36 days of perilous voyage, the fleet had reached the New World. The one who first spotted land was to receive the promised reward. But Columbus claimed, "In truth, I saw the light first." Thus, he took the prize for himself. That was the moment when the door of a world lost for 11,000 years reopened. Yet Columbus and his companions, who could have become heroes, proved villains in history. For upon stepping into the New World, they committed such atrocities against the native people that history branded them as extremely cruel. This was only the beginning. How the natives were destroyed at the hands of Columbus, and how the lust for gold transformed this new world from paradise into hell. This story we shall tell in the next part.